Give me the thumbs up.
Sorry, there we go.
Lovely, thank you. So for this session, I'm just going to briefly go through what we're going to cover. So we're going to start off with top tips for creating an attractive LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to do the first section, then I'm going to hand over to Ruth, who's going to look at building a professional network and best practicing for connecting. Then I'm going to do a real brief demo of how you can use sort of a hidden tool within LinkedIn called the alumni feature. And then we're just going to finish off with Ruth doing a few tips on job searching and how to reach out. And hopefully we've planned it so we've got lots of time at the end for some questions. So just to start with, just to give you kind of a breadth of LinkedIn's reach across, the global community. And this is LinkedIn's economic graph that they update quite regularly. And as you can see, I think it was a couple of months ago that LinkedIn actually reached 1 billion members. And you can see the scope of the companies and the institutions that are on there. So just to put it into context, it is a massive network, probably the biggest network. It is the biggest network globally. So, it is worth, investing time in it. And I'm just going to say, because I am going to go straight into LinkedIn, but we've very kindly had 3 profiles put forward from members of the committee. So just a real thank you to Carolina, Daniela and Carolina. So I'm just going to be showcasing some of their profiles just to help with picking out some of the features. So I'm just going to hopefully click out of this. Just stop sharing briefly. And I'm just going to go into LinkedIn, sorry. So here we are. Let me just press OK on the top. So we're in Carolina's profile just to start with. So I'm going to start talking about the profile picture. So I'm going to pick up on about 6, 7 sort of top tips, just because we don't have that much time. And the first thing when you come into someone's profile, the first thing you're drawn to is their profile picture. So just some tips around that. So in terms of the profile picture, number one, it is really important to have a profile picture. So I know a lot of people don't like having pictures, and you will see on LinkedIn there are people that don't have a profile picture, but that makes it so hard for people to know who you are and to reach out for you and to start building that network. So 1, it's really important to have a profile picture. 2, think about the picture that you can use. Obviously, we want it to be professional. We want it to have, mainly your face in that picture. So it should be about 70% face rather than full body, and obviously no one else in that picture. Just focusing on Carolina's got a lovely profile picture. What's great is, it does look like a professional headshot, but obviously don't let that put you off. With sort of digital cameras that we have these days, you can get a lovely professional looking photo. Just worth considering the background that you're going to use, because we don't want that to distract from your actual face. So like a plain background, which is perfect, what Carolina's got. Also, just considering like facial expressions, we want to look approachable, and that's why Carolina's perfect. We want people to reach out to us. So hopefully that's just a really nice example of a profile picture that we can look at. In terms of the next top tip, it is the background image. So I'm just going to click through to our next profile, which is Carolina's. Now the background image is this, it starts off as a grey background right behind your profile picture, and you can customize this and use any kind of image. But what we see straight away when we come into Carolina's is that it's really eye-catching. Straight away it gives us an idea what Carolina is interested in, what her area of specialism is. So this is a fantastic image that Carolina has selected. And you can sort of choose any picture. So obviously it's great if you can incorporate something that's in terms of your sort of research, but if not, you can just find a really nice image and pop that in there. It might be something that you've used for maybe a poster or a diagram, and you can incorporate that. Now, another way that you can sort of use the background image is you can customize it. So there is a tool you might be aware of called Canva. And I think hopefully if Ruth has that to hand, she's going to pop that in the chat if she's got that ability. So there's a free tool within Canva where you can create your own background image. So it's called the LinkedIn template for the background image, and you can customize that. So you can put your name on there, you can put any handles you've got, and we've got a really nice example. If I just click onto Daniela's image here, you can see again she's picked a lovely image that really represents what her research area is, but then she's also customized it. She's put her name in there, which is a lovely touch. So have a look at Canva, see if you can create something similar to that. Now, the next top tip is the headline, and that is directly under your name. It is the information that is underneath your name. You can see on Daniela's quite a lot of information there. Now, as default, when you first create your LinkedIn profile, it will pull your current job role just as standard, but you can edit that quite easily. So it's useful to take a little bit of time and think about who you are aiming your profile at. So who's your audience, and what are all the things they will be looking out for in a profile picture, for potential jobs. So in terms of Daniela, she's done a really great job. She's incorporated everything that she's interested in. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be your role. It could be any volunteer work, any committees that you're in. It could be past experience as well. But the headline is what people search for when they're looking for people. So it's really important that you hit those kind of keywords. So it does take a little bit of time, but just to really think about what is important to have in your headline image. And what Danielle has done, which is really nice, is she's used the vertical lines to split up the words. So you can do that, or you can just think of kind of a nice kind of paragraph that incorporates everything that you're interested in. You do have 220 characters, so it is, you've got a decent amount of words that you can use. So that's the next top tip to have a think about how you can fully utilize that space and not just leave sort of what your current role is. So moving on, we're going to go to probably one of the most important, but also one of the hardest sections to do, which is your about section. So I'll just keep on this profile. And so the about section is just underneath sort of your profile image and your headline. And this is your opportunity to put everything, all your expertise, all your interests, about your research, what you're working on, into one area. But this does take some time, and you won't get it right first time. So it's thinking again about who your audience is, who will be looking out, and just putting a full picture of your expertise into this one area. It's nice to have a bit of a nice starting line that will grab people instantly. So think about something that's relevant to your research, or some people use a bit of a quote that they like, or you can use sort of facts and figures to grab people instantly. But what's really nice about Daniela's, as you'll see as well, is she split up the text. So she hasn't got really big chunks of text, which makes it quite unappealing to start reading. She's broken it up so instantly you kind of, you're quite easy to read. Another thing you can do is you can use little either images or icons that maybe represent some of the information that you're in there. But then at the end, it's nice just to have a bit of a opportunity and an offer that you're open to connect with people, and asking people to reach out to you if they have a similar interest to you. So again, Danielle has done that at the bottom. She's saying, if this resonates with you, please connect with me. So that's really nice to end with that. And you can also put any ways that people connect with you onto the bottom of there if you've got different handles, Twitter and things like that. So that's another area, and that will take a while. So, don't worry if you don't get that straight away. You do have 2,000 characters in that section. So, you can really put lots of information in there. So next area I'm going to pick up on is the featured, which just again comes quite prominently. So not everyone has this. You've got to go in and create the featured area, and then you've got to think about what you want to highlight and feature to people. So again, looking at Carolina, she's mainly got her recent posts, but again, she's got really nice eye-catching images in those posts. So instantly you're thinking, oh, what's Daniela been doing? Let's click on these. What you can also do, so it doesn't have to be just posts and your recent activity. If you've got an award, you can upload any kind of image into there, or if you've done a poster, you could pop that in, so that there's so much scope. But it's a real nice way to grab people instantly. And we'll just pop back. And again, Carolina has got some lovely featured articles that she's got on there, and these can be changed, you know, really, really easily. So, you know, you might have just one prominent one for a month, and then you might think, actually, I'm working on a new project now, I'm going to change it to this, or I've just had this publication come out, so I want to focus on this for this time. So that's another really nice feature that you can have on there. Now, I'm just going to move on to the skills. Now, if you've tried to input skills in LinkedIn, you'll know that there's up to 50 that you can have. And what we'd recommend is that if you can, as close as possible, get 50 in there. Because we all have so many skills, but quite often people just focus on the ones that they think people are interested in, or maybe just the hard skills that they definitely know that they have, but they'll have so many skills. So make sure you really utilize the skills area here. So it sits here. So we'll just click on and have a quick look. And Carolina, she's got 20. And what's really great is she's actually got lots of endorsement for those skills. So not only is she saying she's got these skills, that people have come in, her colleagues and people in her network, and said, yeah, absolutely. But what you might always want to add some more skills in there. And what you can do with skills is you can connect them to your actual work experience. So you're saying, I've got this skill. And then when you're putting them in, you click the work experience you've got, and then any certificates as well. And another thing that quite often it's a little bit hidden, I can't show it on this particular one, but you can reorder your skills. So there's a long list here. We've got 20 skills that are showing here, but you can make them more prominent. So the ones that you know that your audience will be looking out for, you can drag them up and put them at the top, rather than having maybe the most important one right at the bottom. So it's useful just to spend a little bit of time on your skills, making sure you've got those maximum 50 if possible, and then just reordering them so you've got the ones that are the most important to you there. And we can just click on and see what Daniela has got on her profile. Again, Daniela's she's got 42, so she's pretty much there. And she's got, again, lots and lots of skills that she's done. She might want to rearrange them, perhaps, if she's got ones that are a little bit more prominent. And then one thing that I wanted to show you, which is actually, I have to go into my profile to show you just because of the way it's set up. So in terms of your skills, so we've mentioned the about section, but what there is within the about section, as well as obviously in putting all the information, there is the option where you highlight 5 key skills in your about section. So that's bringing those skills much higher up into your page. So whereas I had to really scroll to find those skills, I'm bringing them right up into the about section. So you can only select 5, but by popping them into the about section and making sure you're just selecting the ones that you think that your audience will be most interested in, it just brings them that little bit more prominent. And if we go down a little bit, you can also add them as key skills in your experience. So you can just select that for this role, these are the main skills that I gained from this role, which is really useful. And then my final top tip for your profile, just because we've not got too much time to spend, which could spend hours on your profile. But one thing that people do look out for is your profile URL. So that's what you can put on your CV for Conviti when you reaching out to people. It's a way that people see how you've what your name is. So you obviously have your name in there, but you have the ability to edit it. Now it doesn't look, it's hard to show it because I've already edited mine, but your standard profile URL comes with lots of numbers and letters at the end. But what you can do is customize that to what represents you. So obviously you might want to just put your name, or you might want to put something else but relevant to your research. And so I've edited mine, and that's what people do look out for, you know, when they are reaching out to people, whether they've spent the time to edit their profile URL to make it a little bit more specific. So there are my top tips. So I'm going to pass over to Ruth, who's going to go into a little bit more about how you're going to build your network. So I'm just going to stop sharing.
Okay, so I'm taking over from Rachel, and then I'll pass back to Rachel again. And can I just check you can see my screen now, hopefully? Great. Okay. So as Rachel has pointed out, you know, the profiles are really the starting points for us on LinkedIn. It's the first thing that people see about you, and this is where we emphasize so much. Do take your time to work on the profile so that people see the best of yourself when they see you. And once you have done the work on the profile, then obviously LinkedIn is a beautiful place to network, because we have 1 billion users on LinkedIn now. We certainly don't want to connect with 1 billion people. We want to connect with the right people. And for Rachel and me, it's really important for you to remember, you want to attract the right people. So the right people based on, you know, your interest, your background, and depending on the keywords that you put into the profile, they will find you in searches, and then they will see the right images and they say, oh, yes, you know, they are Geo-Latinas and I'm in the right space here. And don't worry about not being the right person for other people. That's okay. We don't want to be the right person for everyone. We want to really engage with our target audience on LinkedIn, and that depends on which direction you want to take. So once you've got the profile, now we have the opportunity to network with 1 billion people. And we don't want 1 billion people, but we want to be very selective who we network with. And I just wanted to show you some ideas about how you can reach out on LinkedIn to build your network. So the first thing is, it's a passive way. You have that profile, you have the right keywords in there, the right images, the right information. So people will now be searching for you up here in the search bar, and they will put these keywords in there. You know, if you're a geologist, or, you know, if you are in operations and a geologist, you know, these are the skills, they will put this up here in the search bar. And we want you to come in the search onto the first few pages, not page 9 or 10. It's a little bit like a Google search. So that's the passive way. You know, we build a strong profile and then people come to us. But then there's also the opportunity for you to reach out. And that's the beauty of LinkedIn, because you have a global network. Where else do you have a professional global network all in one place? So the first thing is, if you know the name of someone, so if you're already aware this is the person I want to connect with, let's say you've been to a conference or through Geo-Latinas, you know, you say, oh, you know, there's a colleague here, or my mentor or my mentee, and you know the name, you can go here up in the search bar and put the name in, and then you can search. There's also an advanced search function that's also with a free account, where you can really go into quite a bit of detail. So that's a really nice, simple way to do it. But what do you do if you don't know the people and you want to expand your network? And one thing that LinkedIn does more and more is LinkedIn pulls in people relevant to you based on what you're searching on LinkedIn. So first of all, when you click here on your network, and that's where I am. So here up here, my network, what comes up is the people who've reached out to you, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. And yes, it's embarrassing. I have 46 people I need to go back to. So I'm a little bit behind, but that starts to happen when people notice you. So people will reach out to you. But then also what you can see here is LinkedIn is clever. They have the algorithms, and they look at your behavior on LinkedIn, and then they start to say, okay, here are people in similar roles. And I can click on see all, and there, you know, then similar roles to me in different sectors. Then you scroll down, but also, you know, there are people here from my previous university, Cambridge, from my previous university, Cologne in Germany. And, you know, so LinkedIn pulls people into your sphere based on your interest. And also, look, it says here, based on your recent activity. So LinkedIn is trying to help us in networking. I have to admit, I don't necessarily want to rely also too much on LinkedIn. I'm my own woman, my independent woman, and I want to look out for people. I want to connect with whatever LinkedIn thinks. And for me, what is really, really nice is that I can actually decide, who do I want to reach? So I'll talk to you a little bit more about the job search in a couple of minutes. But, for me, it's who do I want to reach out to and who is there? And how do you reach out? I want to share, because I know that can cause a lot of anxiety amongst people when you're not used to reaching out to strangers. And I just wanted to give you some ideas about how you can do that. So first of all, you can really think about, are there some companies that I want to connect with, some employers, and look at who is in there. So who works for these companies? And I'll just give you an example, and I'll come back to that name because it came up before for me when I did a bit of preparation for today. There's a company called Woodside Energy, and it's just a random company I found. I'd never heard of them. Some of you might know them. They're because they're looking for geologists. And what's really quite interesting is this company. And what I can see now is really interesting. I make it a little bit bigger because what you can see now is, so it says to me 17 people from the University of Cambridge work there. And I could click on this link, and then these 70 people come up, and I could go back. I could go to one of these people and think, oh, you work for this organization. I mean, I'm at the moment looking at moving forward after my studies or my PhD, or I'm looking for my next role. Would you be open for me to be connected here? And you can connect with them directly. So that is if you have an employer in mind and you see, oh, I wonder who works there, and it gives you that information. So all these people come up now, and I can say, oh, how am I connected or not connected? But you can do all these searches. And that's a really nice, very specific way of reaching out to a target audience, just the right people. Now, what you see here is, and I don't know whether you all know this, LinkedIn has a very specific way of organizing the billion people, this network. So LinkedIn has this approach where they say your inner circle, the people you're directly connected with, they're your first degree connection. So they're the people you are directly connected with, and you either they reached out to you and asked you to be part of the network, or you do it for them. So for instance, Rachel and Daniela, the three of us are directly connected because we reached out to each other, and that makes us first degree connections. And LinkedIn says that's what the majority of our connections should be, and you should only ever connect to people you know. Personally, I don't agree with that, because I also want to connect with people I don't know, because I want to grow my network. So it's not a rule, but it's a recommendation that LinkedIn wants us to focus on the people we already know. But I'm a key networker. I also want to expand my network, and I want to invite other people who are not part of my network yet. And I might not know them, but maybe Rachel knows them, or maybe Daniela knows them, and they make a good connection for me. In which case, I reach out. So at the moment, these people that Rachel and Daniela are connected to, but I'm not connected to yet, that makes them my second degree. So Daniela and Rachel are in the middle. And I could go to Daniela and Rachel and say, oh, what are they like? Are they open for connecting? Do you think it's a good connection, good person to be connected with? And I can do it that way, or I can just go straight onto their profiles and I'll show you an example. And then the third degree, that's even one further away. That means these are people that are connected to Rachel and Daniela. And so, they're connected to the second degrees, and they're one further out. So basically, it's like, you've got your inner circle, a wider circle, and then you've got a more remote circle. And why is that important? Because with the inner circle, we can give each other recommendations, we can see each other networks, and when it's second and third degree, we can't do that anymore. So there is a lot of emphasis who's in your first degree connection. And I just wanted to show you some ideas. So if I go on here, and this is the challenging bit. Rachel and I were big fans of when you reach out to people that you personalize that connection request, because as you've seen, you know, I get quite a lot of these, and if I don't know what people want from me or where they're coming from or what is their intention or what I can do for them, you know, I don't want to be connected to millions of people. I want to be connected to people who make sense to be connected to. And so that's why Rachel and I think Daniela as well, you know, we quite like to personalize those recommendations, you know, these connection requests, so that the person I'm asking understands where I'm coming from. So I'm just looking at him. I mean, Mark Ireland, you can see he's a second-degree connection. There's someone in between me and him. But I also see her Sabina Michnovic. I know her well, you know, she's in the middle. But you know what? I just go in on him, on his profile, look at his profile. And if I wanted to connect with him, what I do is, and this is on the desktop version, on the mobile is a little bit different. On the desktop version, I go onto his profile and I have a look at his profile and see, okay, you know, and I decide, oh yeah, you know, he's got the featured, and I look at his profile and I think, okay, I pretend he would be a good connection for me. And then what you then do is you click on connect. But now the interesting thing is add a note to your invitation. And there is a lot of research that says when we personalize that invitation, so I would explain to Mark, why am I reaching out, what my intention is, and I make it as attractive to him to be connected to me. So I want him to say yes, of course. So I can add a note, and then I have 300 characters, so it's not a lot, but you know, it's better than nothing. I can now write a nice little message and saying, oh, so-and-so recommended I connect with you, or Mark, I see, you know, we're both interested, you know, or working in the same research field, or whatever it is, could be, would you be willing to connect with me? Or I've been reading your research and I really enjoy your article on this, you know, would you be, you know, I would love to be connected. Make it personal and give them a good reason to say yes. And then you write this and then you send it off. Now, sadly, LinkedIn has just decided that they're only giving you 5 of these personalized connection requests per month. That's very new. And as you can tell, I am not very happy about this, because for me, the art of connecting with people, of building relationships, is really by being personable and being personal and making our intentions clear. And that's how we've always developed relationships, isn't it? And I'm really grieved that LinkedIn restricts it so much. You have 5 per month with a free account. I'm a premium payer. I can do as many as I want. And so that's one of the things that makes me start to think, you know, I think normally the free LinkedIn account does everything you need, but now they're starting to restrict this. And I think that is really not very beneficial. So you have to you have to choose carefully. If you only get 5 a month, you know, who are you personalize it, and where do you not personalize it? So you can still connect with a lot of people if you don't personalize it, but we know that people respond better if they understand, who are you? You know, what's the connection? What do you have in common? Why should I connect to you? You know, that's especially more experienced professional. That's what they'll be looking for. So use the 5 wisely. And just very quickly, and then I hand over to Rachel to look at the alumni function. So one other way that you can really network nicely is if you are interested in specific topics. LinkedIn has become a real contact management platform. So up here in the notifications, you get all these posts from people in your networks. You can also search up here for a topic. So let's say you want geology, for argument's sake, or geology consultant, and you click in here and you see, okay, what's coming up? So we've got people here. So remember, if you want to personalize it, you click on the profile. If you connect just here, it will send out the standard invitation from LinkedIn. I want to be part of your network. And that's, you know, that's now becoming more and more common because we don't have the choice anymore to personalize it. But personalization is always my preferred way of being approached. And then we have jobs here. But look, now we have posts. And I want you to go in and look at these posts. So they're all posts to do with geology consultant. And you can have a look and see, you know, what do people write about and what's happening. And look, there are also posts coming up here. But it could be you love geology and want to work independently, you know, and you can now like the post, but you can also comment on the post. You can follow people here. So this is sort of the way where you can reach out. And the commenting for me is a really nice way to get onto people's profiles. So here, Jim Merrifield, you know, he is, what's he writing about, you know, their predictions. And look, he's actually a recruiter. So, you know, they put the hashtags in. So these things are easy to find. It's not so easy to comment on a recruiter's post, admittedly, but let's say there was someone writing about a new development in geology for consultants, or, you know, a new trend or new data. If you have something valuable to contribute, do comment. I mean, yes, you can like, you can love, you can do clap and all these things, and that's okay. But the real value from commenting or reposting and sharing it or giving it a little message, that's how people notice you. And that's a really nice way for you to grow your networks, because people will notice you. They say, oh, who's that? Who's commenting on my post? And anyone on LinkedIn, like Rachel and me and Daniela as well, you know, when we post things on LinkedIn, there's nothing nicer than people responding. And we always look, it's human nature. You look, oh, what do they say? Then you respond. And that's how you can build relationships in a really nice way. I'll stop now because we wanted to do something on the alumni function. And I'll hand over again to Rachel. And after the alumni function, then we'll come to job search, and then we'll open up for Q&A.
Thank you, Ruth. I'll just share again. So yeah, I'm just going to do a really quick demo of how you can use the alumni function. So this is a bit of a hidden sort of feature that it's not obvious unless obviously someone tells you about it, but every institution, university has a LinkedIn page, and within that sits the alumni for that institution. So I've just, obviously because we're associated with the University of Leeds, I'm going to use the University of Leeds, but this would be the same for your universities that you're at. So you might want to start with your university that you're associated with, but then it does work for all of them. So I'm just going to go into the page, and then once you're here, you can see these little tabs down there, and then there's one for alumni. And it's really useful just for seeing what people have studied that are similar to you, what period of time that they've done it, because we can do lots of manipulation of the data, and we can see where they've gone, where are they working, you know, what skills they've got. So it's really interesting just to have a little play around with it and see what comes up in kind of your field. So I'm at the University of Leeds here, and we can see we've got well over 200,000 alumni, which is fantastic. We've got a great field to look at. So I'm just going to pop in. I can see I've already searched this, geoscience. Obviously, you would put in whatever is relevant to you. So first of all, you can see by putting that down, I've got that right down, that number, to just over 1,000. Now, another nice way you can do it is if you're looking for someone maybe more senior than you can think about the time frame that they would have been, you know, at the university and things like that. So I'm just going to change my time frame. So I've got two sort of filters onto this, and we'll just have a quick look to see what the information is on there. And so we've got where they work. So we've got some companies already popping up. Then, you know, we could start looking at these. These could be potential places that we might be interested in working. Then we've got where these people are currently living. So is there any sort of in the area that we're currently? You've actually got what they do, and then the skills that they've got and what they studied. So there's already lots and lots of useful information. So I'm going to go back to where they are, because we can manipulate this data a little bit more. Because what I'm trying to do is see if I can find some contacts potentially. So I'm going to click on the United States. So every time you click, it's bringing up all the people in the search down here, so you can start seeing what these profiles are. But we've still got quite a lot. So we go down to 42. So I'm going to look at some of the companies we've got here. So again, they're all broken down, so I can think, oh, which ones am I interested in? So if there's one that stands out, so I'll just click on Total Energies, and we've got one person here. So I can click on his profile, and I can see, you know, what has his career been? How did he get here? Obviously, we know that he went to the University of Leeds. So, you know, that's an instant connection that I've got with him. So I could reach out to him and be like, oh, I'm really interested in maybe working for your company. And I also did a similar degree at University of Leeds. Because he's got the Total Energy, I can also pop on and have a look at what the company is if I don't know that much information, so I can find out a little bit more. And they also, once you're onto the company, as Ruth showed, you can actually see any jobs. So if that is if there's jobs that are relevant and you're interested in, you've got that person who you have that connection with, because you know you both studied, you're alumni, and it's likely he might not respond to you, but if you wrote a message saying that you were interested in following a similar career pathway, that they might come back to you and maybe give you a few hints and tips. So that's just one really useful. You can spend hours manipulating the data on the alumni. We like to have a play with it. So please do have a look at your institution and see how that works for you. And I'll hand back over to Ruth.
Yeah, and I mean, Rachel and I, we absolutely love the alumni function, and it is so, so powerful. And what you can do with that, sometimes, Rachel, I use it with researchers. They're looking maybe the next step after their PhD or, you know, after their postdoc. And they say, oh, you know, I want to work in Australia. I want to be based in Melbourne. And, you know, I want to work as a geologist in operations. And within 2 minutes, we find at least 5 or 10 people, you know, who they can get in touch with. And yes, we're not asking for a job. We're saying, look, you know, I'm following in your footsteps. You know, I'm also moving to Melbourne, and I've been looking at, you know, I've also at the University of Leeds, and would you give me 15 minutes of your time to just explore how did you make the transition from Leeds to Melbourne, or what is, you know, what you see in our sector happening. We're not asking for jobs. That is too much, too quick. But we're looking at having conversations with people in your networks. And don't forget, in terms of job search, you all have so much to offer. And if it's a good connection between what you offer and the employer should not be horrified that you're reaching out to them, because, you know, we have a tight labor market still. You know, companies are always looking for good people who are future employees. And so if it's a good match between what you offer and what the person is doing and the company is doing, you know, that should be a welcome approach, because you're relevant to them. You know, you could be their future employees. You could be the person who can solve the problems that they've been trying to solve. So that's why we love the alumni function, and you can do it for any university in the whole wide world. And it's ours. It's not that well known. And I think it's, yes, you have to be a little bit more proactive, but this for me is also part of the job search, because you can really look, you could drill down into so much detail, and you can find the right people doing the kind of things that you really want to do as well. So let's go into job search for a little bit. And as you can see, I have been up here already. And, you know, when we stopped a little bit earlier, I was looking for a geology consultant. But I just want to give you an idea of, I wanted to go for geologist. But I want to go for a geologist, and I'll just put in Mexico in there, because I was just interested. You're geolatinos. Let's see what's in Mexico and as a for geologists. And here are the people. There are the posts, but there should also be coming up now jobs, and here they are. And as you can see, there is the geophysicist. We saw this earlier, and it comes up, and it also tells you, is it remote? Is it easy apply? Easy apply means you just press a button and it sends your current profile. This is convenient, but it's not always ideal, because sometimes our profiles are not necessarily geared or targeted towards an opportunity. So that's why I have this issue with the easy apply. You know, it doesn't really give us a chance to target it. But it also tells me, okay, maybe I only want to go for jobs where there are less than 10 applicants. But in any case, this comes up. And since it's so easy to do, you just put it here in the bar, and it will come up with the keywords. Now, because it is so easy, you know that so many people just do that. It's the most competitive place in many ways, that you have you go for the jobs that are advertised on LinkedIn. And yes, it's a huge job search engine. Absolutely. And I would always want you to search, but I don't want you to do just that. I think the power of LinkedIn actually comes in doing research, doing, setting up a job alert. So just very quickly so that you can get a really good idea. Here we go. So I could set up this job alert for geologists in Mexico. I set the alert, and then every time something comes up, they send that to my inbox and I can respond. That's really, really convenient. But you can also do that on Indeed or Monster or any of these really big job search sites, where I think LinkedIn really stands out as a job search tool, is being more proactive than just doing what everyone else does. So yes, we looked at the job tab here. I can also do, I can go really deep. I can look at experience level. So for instance, those of you who are at the beginning of your career, or those of you who are already well established, you can decide, what level you are searching for, and then you can really narrow the search down. You can put different companies in. You can say remote or easy apply, and then all filters, and there are many, many, many filters. So it could be full-time, it could be, locations. I mean, lots, the industry, the job function, so title. There is a lot of ways to really narrow down and exactly what you're searching for. But what I find so much more interesting actually is for you to think, okay, how can I reach out? And for me, the beauty of LinkedIn is thinking, where do I want to go next? Doing your research, looking at these job descriptions and coming up with a target, and then making a target list of your ideal employer. And then using LinkedIn to network your way in, to follow them, to maybe comment and really raise your profile, and then to reach out to people and have those conversations. Because I can tell you, not that many people have the courage to do that. And I know it takes a little bit more courage, but when you put yourself forward and you have those good conversations with the right kind of companies that are interested in people like you can have some very open conversations about what's happening in the sector. Where do where's the company going? Yes, I'm now looking at transitions. I am finishing my PhD in the next 6 months. I'm available now. All these kind of things. And that's the way I think LinkedIn can be wonderful. So let's just go back to Woodside Energy, because what you can do is you can go to that company and you can look at the profile. And I just wanted to share with you what I can see, because I have a business account. So I can see a little bit more. I'm not trying to sell you the idea of getting a business account, a premium account with LinkedIn, because it's really expensive. But if you are very committed to your job search and it's really important and you're focusing, you could consider maybe signing up for a free month, because you get the chance to test it out, and then make sure that you don't start paying, because it's expensive. I think at the moment there is a special offer with 50%, but that's still £300. I don't know what that is in pesos, but in American dollars, I think it's almost like $350. It's a lot of money. But I just want to show you what you can see, or you can ask people who have a business account, do some research for me, please, use your networks. So I just want to go show you. So all these companies have a company website here on LinkedIn, which is really nice. It's all there at your fingertips. And if I look at the jobs with this company here, we looked at the geophysicist here. So if I click on this one here, what I can now see is, and this is where it gets very exciting for people like me who are career professionals supporting people like you. We look at, okay, this is what everyone sees, the role and the skills and all these things. And by the way, the skills, look at the skills to see, okay, do I have those skills? And if you have the skills, put them on your profile. As Rachel explained. But so everyone can see all this, but now what's getting interesting is, how do you match? And that, sadly, you only get that with a premium account. So if you know people who have a premium account, maybe they can help you a little bit with this. So this is so wonderful. Skills associated with a job. So they are So obviously I'm not a geologist, I'm a career professional. So I have 10 skills missing on my profile, but they tell you what the skills are. And they also tell you the skills other applicants have. And, and I can click on showing all the skills. I can see, wow, 209 people applied. That's obviously a lot of people, very competitive. I can also see how senior they are. And I can see what degrees they have. Obviously, I can't see names, but I can also see where are they based. And then I can see a little bit more information about, the company, who are they hiring? Look, they're 23% company-wide growth in the last 2 years. So that's a good sign, so they're not going down, they're going up, all these kind of things. That's what you get with a premium account. And then, they tell me from my previous university who works there, and I can see more. So you might say, oh, but I have a free account. I don't get that. So find people who have, who can help you maybe a little bit if they have a premium account. I just want to show you that there is some useful information here. But one thing I definitely want you also to do is we want to go into the company site, and we wanted, I'll just go back quickly, because what Rachel showed you with the alumni function, you can do exactly the same with the company here. Look at that. It's so beautiful. You have here, they don't call it alumni, they call it people. And you click on the people, and now you can do exactly the same research for data as Rachel did with the alumni function from the university. So it's a big company. More than 5,000 people are on here, and you can see, okay, where do they live? What did they study? But you can also see, okay, what do they do? Let's say you want you want something in operations. You can click on this, and now it gives you more and more. And you say, okay, I only want to look at those, I don't know, who are in operations, who went to, I don't know, let's say Curtin University. So now we're narrowing it down again. And now I say, okay, so I've got operations, Curtin University, but still too many people. I want to see, okay, what are they skilled at? Okay, they are skilled in oil and gas. I click on that, so you can really narrow down more and more and more, just like what Rachel showed you with the alumni section. And you can go further. And what did they study? Okay, petroleum engineering. Okay, and now we're going down to a really small number, only 6. And then you've got these 6 people here. And then you can look at their profiles and say, oh, okay, who might be a good person I want to reach out to? So again, it's a personalized approach. And then one other thing I wanted to show you is, can you see there is this follow button on all the company pages? I know that if you follow, it means you get the updates from the company up here in your notifications. You can see that then all the time what's coming up, and a recruiter for that company will see in their software that you're following. So you're already expressing an interest in the company. That means the recruiter is more likely to reach out to people like you first, because you've already said, oh, I like this company, I'm interested, I'm following, versus people who are not following. So that's what recruiters say to me. They go first to the people who they think will be, have a real interest already, because they see them as warm contacts. And that's where they go first, and they check out your profile, and they might get in touch with you. But equally, I want you to, then look at the notifications. And if there are posts, you can even look, companies put posts as well onto LinkedIn, not just people. And there might be something here, and you say, oh, that's my expertise, I can add something here. And then you write a comment. And so here's someone who's done that. I'd love to learn more about your environment plans, but I can't find an answer to this question anywhere. Would you like to help me? And then they haven't come back, and let's see what happens. So they're, oh, he's giving them quite a lot of stuff, and they haven't come back to him yet. But, it's not uncommon to reach out to recruiters and reach out to companies and comment, and that's what gets you visibility. But obviously, it's always about good quality comments, something that adds to the conversation. And it's that first impression. But you can see, and that's one thing that Rachel, I notice all the time, look how many people like it or love it or clap. That's easy. That's quick. But how do you stand out? Only 2 comments. So I can tell you now, the people who are standing out on this post are not the 178 who like and love it, because who's, no one is following that up really. It's nice to see the positive reaction, but what they're really looking at is the comments. And with that, I just wanted to give you some ideas. We've thrown so much at you. So I think it's time for questions and see what, how we can help you. And sorry for bombarding you with a lot of information. And we could run another 2 hours, but we just want to give you a few ideas. Profile, and then reach out, personalize it, build those communities. And you have some fantastic role models, haven't you? Because you've got the committee here and people like Daniela have been through our 5 months program with us. Daniela, you can carry on the good work. You can also showcase, how you connect and what you do.
Definitely, Ruth. Actually, we were just speaking, writing on the chat to do like a LinkedIn ton to meet all digital Latinas and just, build our profiles and give each other feedback. Actually, I think it's a good idea to do that. So I'm just going to give my co-host the floor so she can start the Q&A.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for so many valuable boiled down information, things that are remarkable, and I'm sure that we will in the future, apply right now, start applying, because honestly, yes, it's sometimes you get a LinkedIn but you don't work or you don't pay as much attention and time, right? Just, tailoring it to get to achieve not only the right work, but also the right network, which is something that you excel in explaining. I think that, Rachel, you're great. You actually frame how we should tailor our profiles, and that is so important. We should invest absolutely, time doing that, thinking about what are those key features that make us unique in our profession, in our work. And you, Ruth, thank you so much for providing, the highlights on understanding how LinkedIn works, because that's important, but also choosing with whom to connect. And using this alumni, which was a feature that honestly I didn't know about. Thank you, Anita, for arranging this. So now let's start with the Q&A after I did a brief summary of the information that you share with us. So let's see, we have a few questions here that Carolina is doing an excellent job just writing it, from Christy Arrieta. She's inquiring and asking about what if my LinkedIn profile is originally in Spanish and my second language is English. I haven't found how to change that. I want my profile to show English as my first language. Do you know how this could affect my job searching?
Yes, you can have profiles in several languages, and there is something in the top bar in the right-hand corner. It's called Me. It's where your picture is, and it's in the top. It's in the bar at the top there, the right-hand side, and then you have to go into the settings, and the settings is, you can spend hours in there. There's a setting for everything on LinkedIn, but I would go in and there will be something about, profile in different languages. And I think it's a really wise idea. If you know that you're in a Spanish speaking environment and you want to work in a Spanish speaking environment, there's nothing wrong with having a Spanish profile. But if you know that you are aiming to, work in an English-speaking environment and country, then I would make sure the first profile is in English and the second profile is in Spanish. So I would always adapt it that way.
That's great. Do you, for instance, have any tool, any go-to tool to do this?
LinkedIn does it automatically, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I think I would just make sure, make sure that whatever language you're switching to is correct, because
Yes.
I'm German by background. I don't have a German profile. I just decided I'll keep it in English. But if I think what I hear from other people from different languages, you always want to just make sure, does LinkedIn get the translation right?
Yes, and
then
that's
go in and improve if you need to improve it. You don't want to rely on LinkedIn to do the translation for you.
yes, and that's the question, because sometimes there are very, very technical words that
Yeah.
you have to be careful,
Exactly.
translating.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we have another question from Karina Mariano. She is saying the following: what if I am taking a pause in my dream job hunting and I'm working in a different industry? Should I add my dream job description, or should I put just my present position? Do you have any advice for it?
Right. So, Rachel, do you want to take that? Or do you want me to do you do the next one? Or
you should talk about the headline image.
I
The
think
headline.
it's listing, is it listing? I think it was about listing the position, isn't it?
She's hunting for her dream job.
Yeah.
But what I understand here is that she wants to change,
Yep.
right, her path. So at the moment, she's asking, all right, so what should she do? I mean, should she just just add her current job description, or should she change it to her dream job?
So she definitely doesn't want to have any gaps. It's, people change all the time. That's normal these days. But what I would say is frame the current job as, obviously without always being truthful, but can you frame the current job in its relevance to where you're going? And in the headline, what Rachel and I do a lot is, we have researchers who want to go into certain career direction, but they're not that role yet. And we say aspiring. You can have in the headline, you can say aspiring senior project manager. You still have the keyword senior project manager in there. You're not saying I am a senior project manager, but that's what you're aspiring to. But in the searches, because the senior project manager is in the headline, it will come up. So that's one way. And I would always look at, this is why LinkedIn is easier, when it's more the same direction. But I always think, we're all allowed to change direction. And I think it's looking at, okay, when I look at my dream job, what is the connection between now and the dream job? And can I show the relevance? So what is transferable from my current role into the new role? And making almost like in the about page, you can say, obviously this depends whether it's a confidential job search. If it's a confidential job search, it's a bit harder because LinkedIn is a public domain. Everyone can see what we're doing on LinkedIn. So you have to be a little bit careful, but you could say, I'm really enjoying deep down, my dream has always been one day I will go into that role, and why I think I'm on my journey and I'm doing the right things, and you can support it that way and bring in the skills and write about it. You just have to be a bit careful. Is it a confidential search and career change, or is it like if you're PhD? And I'm looking at Carolina now. Carolina is in her final year with a PhD. And Carolina, you must put into your headline, finally a PhD, because now the recruiters are getting interested in you because you are now in your final year. They know that you will soon now come onto the labor market. That's the time when you want to shout, hello, I'm available. Yeah. But if you're in year 1 or year 2 of your PhD, it's too early. So it's always about framing it so that you're positioning yourself, and don't hold back in terms of, I know we're always worried we don't have enough, we don't do enough, but that's never the case. That is being a bit vulnerable when we go out and look for opportunities. Use your network to support each other. So you're excellent at this, here's the evidence, and the evidence you need to bring in. Why are you such a strong networker, or why are you such a strong project manager? And bring the evidence in like Rachel showed you.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But also a keyword that you mentioned is transferable skills, right?
Yes.
So regardless of what you do, would you say that that's the most relevant part when you do, like, your description and abilities, like highlighting the transferable skills? Is that something that you'd advise?
Yes, absolutely. You know, and Rachel made a really good point, didn't you, Rachel? There is something about, you know, the technical, the hard skills, but please don't forget our human skills. And in the age of AI, the human skills are becoming more and more and more important. You know, how we show up, how we work with each other, how we help each other grow, how we help each other learn, you know, how we communicate, how we collaborate. These are absolutely key things that recruiters are looking for. But we tend to always overvalue our technical skills. And in your network, I mean, if your mentors, put the mentoring on there. I mean, who doesn't want to recruit people into an organization who's, you know, it's a fantastic skill to have, and you will carry on the mentoring process in an organization. That's what they're looking for, because that's the kind of people they want to have. Rachel, what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like as I mentioned, you think about the hard skills, but we've got 50 skills in there, and we need to mention them throughout, even in the about section, so that they're really up there, because they are what people are looking for. They're the valuable things that people that sets us apart from every single person out there.
Yes, in fact, thank you, Rachel. And I will do like I have a little statement here before we continue with the Q&A. And it is the fact that in a time where we are including in our life AI, how have you seen AI impacting the creation of profiles, job searching? Like in your expertise, like what do you think that are the do's and don'ts? I mean, very briefly, maybe,
Yeah.
you know,
I
something
have
that
very
comes to
strong
mind.
views on LinkedIn and AI. I'm testing it out all the time. And all I can say is, do not let AI on LinkedIn write your profile. AI makes you so generic, you will all sound the same. I mean, I've tested out all the time, and please own who you are. You're unique individuals with fantastic skill sets. You've got a certain way of describing yourself, of bringing yourself across. And AI, unless it gets better, it might be better one day. But at the moment, when I tried out with my own profile, I delete it straight away. It's making me so generic. It's taking everything out that is specific and unique about me. And this is how we want to show up. So if you want to use AI, I would not use LinkedIn AI. I mean, you could go to ChatGPT and, you know, especially, you know, when we're not native speakers and you want to do something in English, you know, it might give you some ideas or words. The only thing where I think LinkedIn does quite a good job is, I've tested it out recently, is, you know, if you want to apply for a role, you can ask AI to write a first approach to a recruiter, and I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was actually quite a good thing. But please always, always, always use your intelligence, check it out, and never just think, oh, AI can do it, because we don't know whether LinkedIn AI does exactly the same thing for other candidates. We do not want to sound like everyone else, you know, and that's, so I mean, when I talk to my career colleagues in the US, especially, we're all saying we're all very reserved about AI and LinkedIn, but it's early days. Maybe in 2 years' time, it will be much, much better. And then I might change my mind. But at the moment, I think it's not good enough, and it makes us very, very generic. And that's the danger.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Well, thank you, Ruth. Any comments on that, Rachel? Like you like to
No, I
add
think
something
Ruth
from your
fully
own
covered that. Yeah,
expertise?
absolutely.
All right. So at the moment, we want to open the mic. So if someone wants to interact or ask a question, I see that there are a couple of very good questions that probably would leave that
Happy
our
to
speakers
answer them.
can't.
We can answer them. There is one about recruiters, isn't there? So there's a question about recruiters and salespeople approaching you, and how do you respond to that?
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, and you know, yeah, Aline is saying they look a bit like spam. So like everything, there are wonderful recruiters and there are recruiters who are not so good at this. And I think I would always check out the profile of the recruiter. I would also check out which other people do I know who are connected to this person. So, you know, just to make sure. And then if the position is a good one and you're interested, you can always go back. if the positions are not right, and sometimes, they just send out lots and lots of emails to people. They don't, they don't necessarily read your profile. They just send it out to lots of people. And if it's not consistently not the right role, you might go back to the recruiter and say, look, I would really like to talk to you about what I can offer and what I'm positioning myself for. So far, what you've sent to me is not really is not relevant to my career aspirations, and see whether you can have a conversation. So that,
Yeah,
but always check in terms of spam, are they legitimate? Also, I mean, in the UK, we have associations for recruiters. I always recommend check whether they're a member. That's another, as another quality assurance approach. Are they ethical? Are they legitimate? And do it that way. But also check
so that'd be,
people.
do you have like a top 3 aspects to, check on a profile just to verify that
I mean, recruiters are
it's not
often,
questionable?
I mean, recruiters are often very, very well networked, so you shouldn't be surprised if they're connected to lots and lots of people. But I would also check out what are they writing about, what are their comments, and does the person work for a reputable company? What kind of things do they do on LinkedIn? I mean, you don't want to spend too much time on it. I mean, you can also, if you ever get spammed, you can block people. So that's also, we don't have to endure bad behavior on LinkedIn. We can block people, and then they can't pester us in many ways. Rachel, have you got any ideas? I mean, what would you do? Checking someone's, whether they're genuine profile. What else can we suggest?
Yeah, I'll just go on. And one thing that I always look out is if there's anyone who I'm connected with. So do I, are they familiar in my kind of field? Are people connected with them? And whether then that sort of gives me a little bit more of insight and whether that's someone who I would want to accept or indeed would be useful as a job.
Yeah.
Yes, that's definitely I mean, I would be taking notes. I think that I have to see again this recording for my personal use. We have, in fact, another question from Liz Olaya. She is asking the following: what does it mean when I get a notification? I think that is more on the web page, right? Saying that I appear in X search in a week. Is it based on my skills? Do you know how the algorithm works?
So it's very simple. It's if people search for you and your name in the search bar, that's LinkedIn counts it. That's as simple as it is. So if it says you appeared in 50 searches, it means 50 people searched for you on LinkedIn. And I'm not trying to overemphasize the premium account, but that's the advantage I have. I can see over the last 3 months, who was it? How did they find me? And that gives me really interesting data. But I'm not suggesting you pay premium to get that information. But I know with the free account, you can only ever see, is it right, Rachel, the last 5 people? Is that correct?
Yeah, they'll give you a highlight as well. They'll be like, and these people you can see search for you, but these people we won't tell you who searched, which is frustrating.
Yeah, and I can see it all, and because and that's the advantage. But it's basically LinkedIn counts how many people searched for you, and and it's my top tip would be when you implement Rachel's beautiful LinkedIn profile tips, you get the right keywords in, you put the evidence in, you have the featured, and you populate the profile with the right information that you want to showcase, your searches should go up. So that's what Rachel and I see on our program. We say not many people come to me, and then we work so hard with them on their profile, and suddenly they get huge amounts of interest because they have the right words in there, and and they get more active, and then people notice you more. So that would be our hope, that if you put this time aside to work on your profile, you should really get more from that. Daniela, can I just ask you, you've been on the program with us. I mean, you've always had a lot of traction on LinkedIn, but did it go up a little bit because you worked you made the profile even better than it was before?
Yes. definitely. It went so much better. I
You
have,
did? Okay.
yes, many connections, actual collaborations, and I have, I will say, more senior scientists and researchers pay attention to me. So I managed to have sort of like a express mentoring through the chat of LinkedIn, which was amazing. So
Brilliant.
you have to, like you say, you have to be brave and just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you're a great role model for that, Daniela, aren't you? So there you
Go
go.
for it.
that's great. And in fact, I have a question and a follow-up. So my question is it worth an investment from premium? I mean, the benefits that you get for paying premium compared to the standard.
You know, I just think it's so expensive. I think I think it's, yes, there are a lot of advantages in my view, and LinkedIn is restricting the free accounts more and more, but you know, it's a lot of money. And so I would not recommend doing it all the time. I mean, if you have an employer and you have a business development role, maybe they can pay for it as well. You know, I think it's such a big investment. And I often say to people, look, get it for a month, work really hard on LinkedIn, and then come out of it. But make sure that you cancel the subscription. I mean, because you know, it's 300, 400 pounds. I mean, you know, or $500 a year. That's a lot of money. And
Yes.
maybe when you're job searching, you can argue, okay, you know, I do it for 2 or 3 months, you know, because I think you can pay monthly as well. But then, you know, as a constant cost, I think it's huge. Unless, you know, I mean, I know you'll all go far in your careers, you know, when you're chief executives, and it doesn't really matter, because what is $500 when you're chief executive, maybe, you know. But for us at our stage in our career, it's a lot of money. And Rachel, I don't know, would you recommend it? I mean, I think it's a high price to pay.
I think it's a lot of money, but I think the way that you suggest, you know, using it strategically when you're in that position that you're actively looking, use it for that 1 month, see how much benefit you get from it, and then obviously you can evaluate whether it's worth continuing, maybe just for a couple of months until you found that role.
Yeah.
And then possibly you don't need it then for a while. Cancel it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And this is the final one. And we already hear about Daniela and her success story using LinkedIn. Do you have like a remarkable success story to share with us today? So something that stay with you, that you started this program. If you could, Ruth and Rachel, share one short one about someone that you were working with.
So we actually had some students that we were working with. They were student champions, and they spent a bit of time working on their profile, building the skills and their sort of certificates that they were posting on there. And they saw a massive increase of engagement from just making sure that they had the correct skills listed. So these were students that were about to finish their degrees, and also the backing up with certificates on there as well. So just by changing a few tweaks on your profile, it's amazing the different engagement that you'll get just from people coming actively seeing your profile.
Yeah, and we've had people who got headhunted off LinkedIn, and personally, I think, you know, Rachel and I, we're very passionate about LinkedIn because we can really see the difference it can make for our community. And, you know, there's so many terrible profiles on LinkedIn, to be honest, you know, when you put the work in and you create strong profiles and you do the beautiful things like what Daniela does. It's so nicely branded and everything, you know, and you have strong images and you support with the evidence, you know, you're standing out. And also, you know, as Geo-Latinas, you know, your network, use that network to elevate each other. You know, I think you can, you know, you can really, you know, you're different, you're unique, you know, you offer something and going out there confidently, because the world really needs you, you know, and with that confidence going out there. And yes, not everyone will want to connect, but that's okay. Then you move on to the next person, you know. So see step by step, slowly, and then it will build and build and build. And yeah, we wish you the best of luck with this. And it's been such an honor to come along. And Rachel knows so much about LinkedIn and LinkedIn Learning. So we haven't even talked about LinkedIn Learning because there's another opportunity there. But keep going, keep doing the good stuff. And you have such wonderful role models in Geolatinas as well, you know, so look to each other, help each other, elevate each other. And yeah, and best of luck with your career development. And yes, thank you for the invitation, and thank you for Rachel.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying yes to us.
Pleasure.
I just want to take one minute just to quick give this information to our members. Geolatinas, we're going to start our mentoring program this year, the second version, and we will just give you this great news that we just signed up a memorandum of understanding, which is like an agreement with ADU to use Mentoring 365, which is a mentoring platform online that you will be able to use free because you are a Geolatina member. So stay tuned, please. We will give you more information through emails and the Slack channel, #mentoring. And also you can just, of course, reach to us in social media and also our email, mentoring@geolatinas.org. So yeah, so during this year you will be able to use just this platform for mentoring purposes. And to finish, of course, this webinar, I'm just going to show you just on the screen the certificate of appreciation to Rachael and Ruth for being our speakers of this amazing webinar. Thank you for all your wisdom and sharing all the tips, and also agreeing for recording this session that will be available later on for only members. And yeah, so I just want to finish. I know it was going to be 1 hour. It's almost an hour and a half. So I know Rachael has to go now. And so again, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so
Geolatinas.
Thank you so much, and all the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. I'm going to end the session for all of us. So bye-bye.
Bye.